Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in to the PSP Podcast, featuring your friendly host, Percussive 173, where PSP stands for Perc Spreads Positivity, where we educate.
The 3 E's, right? You can educate, you can entertain, you can be empathetic.
Have you encountered any gender-related obstacles or biases while building your career in content creation?
I would say the cyber stalking.
By bringing in the best of the best. You still do that, so let's not discount that. So what really made you go into streaming? What was that decision? What was that move that made you, Nick, as I'm very sorry, I know I'm teasing you, but it's literally, it's one of those things that we can do. Post everywhere, post often, and do it your own way. And have fun. And have fun and be yourself.
Fine. Have fun, honestly. Like that, I love that so much because it's so true. Like, if you like the content you're making, like if you're watching it and you like it, you're not the only person.
From fitness to establish a new habit or a routine, what is your message to them?
Start with less than you think you need.
Too fitting. Would love to get some tips and tricks of the trade on like how you kind of do things in the cosplay field.
Yeah, I'd love to go into that, especially because like I've done a little bit of everything, right? So I've made some costumes, I've bought some costumes, I have my friends' old costumes, I've commissioned costumes, I like craft all kinds of things, but also I wear things. Like there's a whole smorgasbord if I do a little bit of everything when it comes to cosplay.
To VTubing and animation. This is something that I may want to get into. How should they start?
Ooh, I think everyone should start on YouTube. I think YouTube is going to be your best place for launching
metrics that creators should be paying attention to, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think, and like specifically with like VTubing, I think it's, I think all of that is like kind of like the difficulty level is like bumped up to like expert.
And our goal at the PSP Podcast is to educate and inspire aspiring creators. And we are super excited for this week's episode, and we can't wait to see you there. So let's have a freaking party! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on into today's episode of the PSP Podcast, where Perc Spreads Positivity, where we bring in the best of the best to help educate and inspire aspiring creators. And today's guest is somebody who I absolutely adore. She embodies authenticity. She embodies just being just a genuine freaking human being. And I have watched her grow from like, what was it, like 5 viewers a day to what you're at, like probably 200 now. But like, girl's been absolutely killing it in the content scene. She's been absolutely killing it, just in general. And I'm really excited to introduce SincerelyAurora to you. Aurora, how are you today? Welcome on into the PSP Podcast.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited.
Thank you. It's always amazing to have someone like you on. And like I like I said, I've been watching your content for like quite some time. And like I'm, as you know, I'm typically like a lurker, right? But I love being able to pop into your streams and to see what you've been doing with your content and how you interact with chat is something literally, truly special.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. So how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. I've had a really nice long week. We're having the DreamHack downs, unfortunately.
I feel you there.
The convention blues.
So I'm upset with you, actually. I didn't get to see you this weekend. We're going to fight.
Oh, no. Are we beefing? I didn't mean to beef. I wasn't trying to beef.
No, we're not going to beef. I'm totally joking, of course. But no, genuinely, like, it's really awesome it was really awesome. That convention was so great. It was my first convention as a creator, but like, we have to try to stay positive, everyone. Even though like it's so difficult when you have that much social interaction at one time. It definitely leaves you feeling wanting more.
Absolutely. Well, DreamHack this year was a little different for me.
Mm-hmm.
With how fast I've been growing, I've been having meetings and stuff and different contracts that I can't talk about that have been going on. So DreamHack actually became more of a networking thing for me this year than, the talking to my friends and, seeing all the cool stuff in the gaming industry.
And that's really what's interesting too, is because when you bring conventions into the mix, like people all go into conventions. There's like three different styles of people at cons. You have like I don't want to say fans because it's the wrong word. You have like the viewers that love to meet the creators that they enjoy. You have the creators that go there to be social and introduce themselves to others, and then you also have the creators that go there as a business plan to be able to talk to specific brands. And it's really a unique area to go from like behind the camera to in-person content and like being able to actually talk to the brands in person. It's really cool.
Absolutely. I agree. That's one of my favorite things about DreamHack. It's probably one of the only conventions I've been to that seem to actually want to connect creators with people and companies that can, expand them and help support them instead of, having to get support directly from viewers all the time.
Absolutely. And that's a huge part of like yesterday we had Pink on and we talked about content creation as a business. We talked about the marketing aspect of things and like being able to properly network, properly communicate with brands is such an integral part once you reach a certain level of content. Is
Mm,
something that I'm not even at yet, but it's because I'm getting to the base level of monetization. And we'll talk all about this stuff throughout today. So, for those who might not know you, who is Sincerely Aurora? Let's introduce
Who
yourself to
is
some of the
sincerely?
people.
Well, that's a loaded question. You're starting off hot and heavy, aren't you?
I always do. I always do.
Well, I am a voice actress, comedian, musician, improv artist, and a gamer. And I always have referred to myself as a soft femme. But my big thing is I like to put the emphasis of cozy and gremlin energy into horror. A lot of my viewers tell me that I make them laugh through some of the scariest jump scares they've ever seen, which is something I really pride myself on. But I also do a lot of yandere ASMR. I like lean into the unhinged side of gaming a little bit with the goals of uplifting femmes and thems in the gaming industry.
That is so incredible because to have somebody like that inside of the gaming industry is truly something amazing. There are a lot of people who say that they do that, but you truly embody that. And like being able to go into the world of content where there's a lot of negativity, or there's a lot of things and people that you may want to kind of slightly steer clear from. You're definitely one of those people that I think people should pay attention to because if you've never been in one of Aurora's streams, genuinely the way she interacts with chat is one of the most incredible things to watch. She has so many like tools within the VTubing aspect just to like engage with chat, like the C4 munchers. It's and like, so what do you truly do to be able to take your what do you do for your community to allow it to be so engaging and so entertaining?
I I've so It's so hard to answer that question because I've
Mhm.
seen such an exponential amount of growth in the last 3 months of my career. And I've always proud listen, okay, listen, I'm struggling. I have two brain cells and they're constantly fighting for third place, okay?
I
I
get
have
you.
I have always prided myself on interacting with every person that I can see. Like, I like referring to people by their names because everybody has a name and it's unique to them. And I like to always try my best to refer to people when they talk to me. And, you hit that point in your career where chat's moving a little too fast. And that's not really. That's not really something that you can always do. And so what I like to do is I like to, I don't know, start things and memes that everyone can be a part of. And it's something that I am also engaging in. So even though I can't always refer to everybody by their name and say hi to each individual person, everybody's involved in the bit, if that makes sense.
And that's so huge though, and a lot of people kind of miss that like when when they start their like growth aspect. And like honestly the way I've seen you grow is really cool because if you pay attention to the contents, you and I talked about it too, like you switched styles of content a while back and you started seeing some really positive feedback on from TikTok and then from YouTube and like from your shorts, and that translated into Twitch, and so people started seeing your content and engaging with your content and then wanting to pop into your chat and engage with your content. And like, so how important is it as a content creator to find that content niche?
Hmm. I am never going to answer that question the way people think I will.
Sure. And I love to hear
I
either way.
actually thank you. I
Hmm.
actually don't think that niche is as important as it used to be. And
Agreed.
a lot of people would disagree with me on that. I mean, we've been in the same networking events.
Mm.
A lot of people tell me that they disagree with that and you need to have a YouTube channel for everything that you do. But I actually think that YouTube is actively pushing you away from that now. I think YouTube wants to see the implementation of playlists. It wants you to use shorts more. It wants you to use their vertical live streaming aspect more. YouTube wants you to do everything on the platform. And the number one thing that I've told people, especially when I announced that I got Twitch partner, I had a lot of people DMing me and in like the comments of that announcement, and they were like, "How did you do that? Like, I swear, like 4 months ago, you were at like 7K on YouTube and like 30 average viewers." And I was like, "Yeah, um, I don't know. I just stopped giving a crap and was myself." And that's literally the biggest shift that I made in my content is I took a long hard look at what I was doing and what wasn't working, and I made changes so that I felt comfortable being vulnerable, being goofy, and being unhinged because that's my personality. That's just who I am. I am a bumbling dork, and people seem to fall in love with that as much as I was falling in love doing it for them, and that's what hooked people. That's what brought people in. And I actually just had a realization the other day. I asked my chat straight out. I said, "You guys, do you want me to yap or do you want me to play the game?" And like everybody across all four of my chats were like, "You could just yap, we'd be fine." And it was like in that moment I realized, wow, these people are actually here for me and not for what I'm doing. And I think that is the catalyst to being a good content creator.
I honestly, I couldn't agree more. And consistently throughout every episode of the PSP podcast, we discuss about being your true authentic self, being
Yeah.
authentically you. And that is so important to be able to find. And like, so when I discuss niches and stuff like that, we dial it back to that realm of really being enthusiastically, authentically yourself, because that's what people are going to start paying attention to in the world of
Mhm.
content. And we mentioned like the rapid growth that you've seen too. It's one of the cool things that I've noticed watching a lot of my friends blow up, and the things that I kind of suggest to them are like every platform has their own internal tools that they want you to use. And we're in a very super technologically savvy world, so like you mentioned, like looking at the YouTube studio, YouTube content, and like utilizing their the things that they're offering. YouTube will constantly throw things at your platform. They want you to sign into the studio every single day, and they will note that. And when you start doing that, they're going to automatically start pushing your content out. Same thing with the Meta
Mhm.
Business Suite. Same thing with TikTok. Like TikTok wants you to shoot things on mobile and then utilize their mobile platform to edit and then put things into a draft and then schedule it and post it. Because if you just post something from just like the base DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Suite, like they're not really going to push it because you're not utilizing their
Mm-mm.
software tools. So
Mhm.
YouTube's implemented their AI inside. It's called Ask YouTube, Ask Studio, and it's been one of the coolest things because YouTube wants me to start pushing prop hunt content according to their AI, and I suck at prop hunt, but apparently everybody loves it. So I'm gonna start listening to them and see what and see what happens. And I'm curious to see what their tooling does and how it helps the growth too. It's gonna be a cool thing you guys are gonna see in real time.
Yeah. And you know what? On that same topic,
Hmm.
vidIQ has become one of my most favorite tools to use.
I don't even know vidIQ.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing platform. It's you can integrate it straight into your browser, no matter what browser you're using, and it's like an extension of YouTube, basically. Like it gives you deep dives into your analytics. You can get one-on-one coaching with industry professionals.
Oh, cool.
You get keyword comparisons. it'll automatically look up channels that make similar content to you and show you what you could be doing better, or what they're doing better, or what you're doing better. There's so much on vidIQ that's amazing, and I love these tools that you can implement with YouTube. But YouTube by far is the best way to grow as a creator.
I couldn't agree more. YouTube is definitely one of those things where it always is going to try to push your videos out because it has that algorithm, and it's got the ABC platform integration. And like, people also forget that in back in the older days, like, people used to utilize the what's it called? The description to post all their SEO metrics and SEO things to try to push it to the right audience. YouTube's implemented an internal editor now where they want you to start, like, you can input SEO metrics into text and then actually throw it off the screen so it still registers within the video and the hashtag and pushes to that SEO metric. Same thing with TikTok Studio editor.
Hmm.
There's stuff like that that's starting to go on now, and it's pretty freaking awesome to see.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
we can talk about the technical side of things for years, and like, because I can go on a whole tangent on like literally yesterday, Pink talked to me about all these SEO metrics. So, but today I want to focus on the authenticity in content, because what does authenticity look like for you on a day-to-day basis, and how does that affect your content that you post?
Well, first of all, I see my munchers in the chat. There's a couple people who are saying yapper, best yapper.
You are.
um, Authenticity to me, though, is showing up.
True.
Authenticity is showing your community that when you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. It might be delayed, it might be tomorrow, but it's going to happen. And you're showing up for your community. You are putting out things that they want to see, putting out things for the intention of making them laugh. And it's not, like I said earlier, something I had to realize from my current community is when you're actually building a community, they're there for you. And what comes after that is a bonus for people who are actually there for you. So authenticity for people who want you, authenticity for people who want to see you and experience you and enjoy your personality as a creator is just being a creator. And a lot of people overthink that. They think that you have to upload at a certain time, you have to upload this many times, you have to upload this kind of content, but that's just not it. Authenticity is just showing up. And I know that sometimes the simplest answer is the most frustrating, because consistency, I think, is always going to be the hardest hurdle to tackle when you are a full time content creator. But that's really all your community wants to do. That's all they really want from you, is that you show up and you reward them showing up for you with you showing up for them. All relationships is a give and take, romantic relationships, friendships, and the same thing with, streamers and viewers. You give, they give, and everybody's happy.
And that's a W response, and people forget the relationship between streamer and viewer. And like, really, when it comes to content creation, it's about creating that community aspect within like, with your community, giving them something to do, being engaging. And you're right, showing up on a day-to-day basis. And it was honestly only a couple days ago where I made a conscious decision where, like, I want to actually start taking content serious now, because I'm actually reaching a cool little point in my career. So I'm nowhere near one of the most advanced creators in the world. I'm not at that point yet. I'm still working on base level 1, which is creation of the community, and creating a little hodgepodge of people who have met me from other communities who are now being like, hey, I adore this person and I want to actually go support him and talk to them. And also, chat, we see you, you're awesome, we adore you. So, and if we
Yes,
don't
we do.
respond, it's only because of the podcast. So, just a little disclaimer. But you're 100% right. Showing up for your community and allowing them to have something to actually enjoy, giving them the content that they're going to want to see, is something huge.
Absolutely.
So, how do you balance between sharing your life in keeping certain things towards yourself? What's that fine line? Because I know a lot of creators kind of think about this when they're going into it and they're like, I don't know if this is what I want to do.
Honestly, I like sharing my lore. I like sharing my lore with my community, especially because I'm kind of unique as a VTuber, I feel like. My VTuber, my avatar, everything about me is based off of me. Whereas a lot of VTubers, they have entire backstories, lore videos, all this stuff. And I make it a little more personal. I make it a little more personal because I do wear my heart on my sleeve and I share my lore openly. One of the things I actually just recently shared is why I do the yandere bits and why that became a thing. And I started doing it because femmes in this space face a lot of trouble. They face a lot of trouble, especially, what we just saw with the Emaru situation.
Mm-hmm.
They face a lot of situations that, masculines don't really have to deal with as often. And it stalking was something that I went through as a person. It's something that I actually experienced. And I thought it would be funny to make fun of it because that was my coping mechanism. And that people related to that. People started saying, "Wow, okay, this is obviously a bit, but holy moly, this is really funny. This is me making fun and light on something that's very serious and keeping it in the conversation. It's a lore about me that I've never been afraid to share. It's something that I'm not ashamed of, and I'm like that with all of me. That's something I openly share myself with my community because one day I'm going to say something and somebody is going to be having a really hard day. They're going to be going through that exact same thing. And I feel like me as a creator, I'm in a position where I can say this and let them know that they're not alone.
And
And I think that's really important as a creator, especially a growing creator, someone who's making a platform for themselves and making a voice for themselves. It's really important to talk about things that affect so many people. And one day you're gonna hit someone the right way, and I don't know, maybe you'll help them, you'll save them, I don't know, but that's just something I always think about. I think about the times I've listened to some of my oshis or creators that I look up to, and they've said something on the exact day that I needed it, and it really changed my whole outlook on what I was going through.
that's so big to kind of discuss and understand because like having your like a lot of people don't realize that us behind a camera, we're human beings and we have all gone through something, and a lot of us are using streaming in different manners, and like for you it's really cool to see because you're being authentically true to what you're doing, and it's like to be able to talk about some of the stuff and like be open about it is also something that's truly inspirational too. Like for me, I don't have like a vast story. I started because someone said I'm goofy and I just want to be goofy because that's just kind of who I am. And I evolved into podcasting because I love talking to people and I love picking people's brains. And at the same time, I also have a huge passion for the entire world of content, not just one individual thing. It's but everybody's lore is different. Everybody goes into the streaming world for like different things, and the world of content is so vast. So if you're a new creator looking to indulge, looking to try to figure out what's going on with content, you definitely want to just be yourself because everyone's going to see through it if you're not.
Absolutely. I mean, people can sniff inauthentic inauthentic people from a mile away.
It's instant. It's literally instant. And like, well, some people like me will entertain unauthentic people for a little bit just to see if it's just something that they're going through or something that they're having like a mental off day or whatever the case is. But we can always see if somebody is not being true to themselves and not being true to the community around them and like doing content wrong. You'll also see it within their growth. You won't see them grow. And it's not 100%. It's not. So when I say this, it's not 100% of the case. So please don't say, oh, you're not growing, you're not authentic. That's not what I mean. I mean, you'll see those people consistently struggle with growth and consistently struggle with maintaining a community of people. And they won't be able to eat their C4.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, one of my greatest the thing I think I am most proud of from this year is creating a community that is growing every single day,
Mm-hmm.
that is like they legitimately love each other. They are so nice to each other. I like very rarely do you see people disagreeing, and they're all just such wonderful munchers. And I'm just really proud. It's like one of my favorite things as a creator is like when I'm done with stream, or when I'm having an off day, or I'm not feeling well, and I'll just check in to see what's going on, because my moderators do a really good job of running our Discord server. But I'll just kind of like just jump in, see what everybody's talking about, see what's going on in there. Plus we have like community nights, but I'll just see people going back and forth and making friends with each other, or jumping in with voice chats with each other. And it's just my favorite part of being a creator outside of the creation aspect is knowing that I could help bring people together.
And it's a huge rewarding thing for a give and take. Like, us streamers love our community. Like, I love the band fam. My thing is I'm a drummer and you guys are the band, because a drummer would be nothing without his band. That's my community. That's how I kind of describe our relationship. And they know that, and they know they want to be there, and they know they want to support me, and they'll show up. And but the majority of the people who watch my streams, they lurk and try and kill me when I play Call of Duty. And then I have another select group of people who love watching my streams, but they lurk throughout the podcast content because they're also trying to be streamers. They're also trying to put themselves out there, and they don't know how. So I bring in people who can help educate people, which is why the PSP podcast began to begin with. Because my whole goal as a streamer is to spread positivity, whether it just be one person at a time. I don't care if my chat's ridiculously active, and I don't care if my if my chat doesn't even move at all. But what I care about is, am I creating content that is meaningful? And I've had creators actually reach out to me and tell me that they really love what I'm doing and what I'm putting forward, and that's enough for me to move forward. And
Absolutely.
because it goes back to being authentically true to yourself. Everything I do is about positivity, hence the Perc Spreads Positivity Podcast.
Yeah.
So,
I
so
think you're a wonderful person.
don't say that. I'm not crying on stream. No, but thank you. I appreciate it. So what do you think is the biggest misconception about streaming? Keep in mind we're talking about new and aspiring creators.
Mm. I think the biggest misconception of streaming is you have to be hundreds of viewers in to do it full time. And I feel like that's actually become a topic of the week on Twitter. Funny
Yep.
enough, people have been talking about their ad revenue on Twitter, and like showing their numbers, and like, oh, I average, like 75 viewers, and I only made like at $600. And somebody else is like, well, I made double that, or I made half that. It's always the thing that people go back and forth on. I think the biggest misconception is you can go full time once you figure out how. That's my honest opinion of it, because your income is going to be dependent on sponsorships. Did you shoot your shot? Did you ask if you could? Did you ask if someone wanted to work with you? Subs and money from your viewers, donations, them buying your merchandise, that's great. That helps. It is a nice part of it when you get that kind of income rolling. But depending on that, is where people kind of fall, because they don't know the ins and outs of the business behind actually being a content creator. And that's no fault of anybody's, because it's held so tightly to people's chests for whatever reason, for the people who do make it. And as someone who is full-time now, I one of my biggest ambitions is I want to become a Twitch ambassador. And I want to be standing in the rooms of people who help make decisions for people like me, femmes and thems, and the people who aren't as easily seen when it comes to the algorithm or discoverability on platforms. The people who always tend to struggle the most. I want to make changes in this industry so people actually understand that we can all be successful at the same time. Nothing has to be gatekept. And there are people who say that they don't gatekeep, but they kind of do still. And I want to be somebody who can say, "Listen, you can achieve this if you have the consistency, you have the passion, and you put yourself out there because you can." And people come into this industry thinking like, "Oh, if I just go live, then one day I'll be able to make enough money from ad revenue as long as I have thousands of viewers." But that's just not true. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of full-time content creators who don't average that many viewers on a daily basis, who do this full time, and they are so happy.
And I honestly, I agree with you with everything, minus the gatekeep aspect, but that's a whole different topic of discussion. So that's, we actually had a 2-hour conversation about it, like literally last night in the Discord. But I think the biggest misconception about streaming is it's not easy. So don't think it's just pushing a live button. We wear many hats as streamers, and it's not, and when you start, don't make it about money. Make it a hobby.
Mhm.
Because not everyone has a business degree, and not everyone can market themselves in a way to instantly get brand deals, to instantly start having affiliate marketing work for them. Like, for example, I have a bunch of brand deals, and affiliate marketing does not work for me. I make $0 from it with any of my brands. And it's probably the content that I'm pushing forward. From a gatekeep aspect, there's levels and informative stuff, right? Like the stuff that you can easily find on the internet and like be like, hey, this is something that works, this is something that you can find, this is something that will help push things forward. That should not be gatekept. But there are certain things where you have like an idea that actually has monetary value. There's a reason why it's behind a paywall. So that's I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my mentality behind gatekeeping. And I could talk for hours about that particular topic alone, especially in the content space. And like, you don't have to agree with me on everything, because there are things that a lot of people disagree with in the content world too. But really, it's creating that community and understanding that there's so many hats that us streamers wear, whether it be from an engineering perspective, a tech perspective, a marketing perspective. Like we wear many hats, and I have a bunch of
Most
them.
definitely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the whole thing when it comes to, like, I can talk about the whole gatekeeping aspect for hours on end, mainly because there's so many avenues about it. Like, there is, like, for example, there's an app that you can go to that you can repost and make $20. If everybody knows about that, then everyone's going to start making $1 or maybe 50 cents and not making $20 for that anymore. And it's not specifically reposting, but it's also people who have to have a specific level of following to be able to get to. So you have to find a way to get to that mark, to be able to get to that premium aspect, to be able to make that type of money. And that goes back to the question of what's the biggest misconception about streaming is there's only one journey, and you have to find out how to make it happen for yourself, because you have to put your own love, affinity, and passion into it in order to get the most in return.
I agree with that. But I also think that not everybody comes from a background of understanding how to properly research.
I
So
agree.
gatekeeping to me is kind of a taboo word.
Sure. And it is, because like it really is a taboo word. Like when I talk about gatekeeping, I mean the stuff I'm talking about, the stuff that isn't directly out there in front of you. That the stuff that, like, literally there's a reason why it's behind a paywall, and that's the only difference. It's a mentality aspect, it's a definition aspect. So that's, I think, where a lot of us differ in it, in not doing the full what's it called? I'm not understanding the full verbiage of the word. Not saying that you don't. I'm saying it's that my definition is slightly different with it.
Well, to me, everybody can be successful at the same time. So
Sure.
I just don't like gatekeeping of any information, especially if it's already made me successful in my own way.
Oh, for sure. And like, I'm an open book. I'm an open book. Anything that I learn, anything that works for me, I'll talk about. Like the stuff that I know that works for me is stuff that's strictly inside of each individualized platform. So, but most everything else doesn't really work, but you have to find out what works for you because everybody is different in their personality and the content that they're trying to put forward too.
Absolutely.
So, how do you stay grounded when it comes to analytics, when it comes to trends, when it comes to numbers? What is the important analytics to pay attention to, if any at all?
Staying grounded, the biggest thing, especially when you're live, is turning them off. Turning off your numbers when you're live is one of the most important things to me because I am somebody who takes analytics very seriously. I am overly analytical. I have an analytical brain when it comes to researching for my own career, especially because when I am passionate about something, I hyper focus so much. And I want to make sure that I am doing it right. I want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and why I'm getting the results or not getting the results that I'm getting. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about YouTube because YouTube's platform deep dives all of your analytics to a point where you really can, if you understand how to read it, figure out why something didn't work. There are little things that, people share here and there about how to make it better, but analytics in general, while they can be overwhelming, are always going to be your friend. Kind of like contracts when you're signing a brand deal. Analytics are your friend and it's only going to help you, and the best way to ground yourself is to understand that you're not alone and everybody has had to sit in that chair, figure out what it means, and work through the exact same milestones.
Exactly. And everybody has that, literally everybody who goes into the content space has to have that introspective work. Every episode I talk about 95% of content being introspective work, and that's exactly what I mean. Because we have to go back and figure out what works based off of our numbers and what doesn't. And it's not great to look at the live aspect. Like, I don't know how many viewers I have in chat. I don't really care. But what I do care about is after the fact, I look and I'm like, so I went from 24 active chatters to 7 active chatters. What did I say?
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
and that's a huge thing when it comes to YouTube, which I'm going to be straight honest with you. YouTube's something I haven't figured out yet. And I'm not even going to pretend like I figured it out. TikTok, I understand. I just haven't implemented. But Snapchat is something that I've implemented and it works and it has been working. And I've had more people come in from Snapchat to my community than any other platform out there, which I think is really interesting because no one uses Snapchat as a platform like that.
Most definitely. Well, and that's a really good point to make is using your analytics to figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So on YouTube videos, that's a lot more simple because you can not only see your analytics, but you can see the ins and outs of your video, such as your audio levels, where something lagged, where something was working. And so like let's say I had my audio peak at some point in my video and my viewer retention rate dropped right at that point in my video. Well, I can put two and two together. I can see that there's a peak in my audio, and I also see that there's a drastic drop in who people who are watching the video, and be like, okay, well, that's why. Analytics are just always going to be your friend, but they are daunting, and it
Yes.
does take some a bit of a learning curve to understand what you're looking at.
And that's something that the biggest mistake I see people making with analytics is, and I'll use you as an example. It's like, I have 5 viewers and Aurora has 500. What am I doing wrong? You can't compare yourself to others because
You can.
it goes back to it's your journey. It's what you make of your journey. You have to own the only person you should be comparing is to yourself to an extent, because every single thing that we do is different based off of the game that we play too. You can't compare apples to oranges. You can only compare oranges to
Absolutely.
oranges.
even people in your who make content similar to you.
Mm-hmm.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
And if you're always comparing, if you're always worried about how many people are watching or how many people clicked on your video, now don't get me wrong. It's important, especially when it comes to YouTube, more so than anything.
Right.
You want people to view your stuff, so you should be constantly striving to figure out what you can do better. But if that's all you're concerned about, if your virality or your popularity or your clout is all you're concerned about, which I think unfortunately a lot of people get into it just for that instead
Yes.
of the art of actually creating and bringing smiles to people's faces. If that's all you're worried about, the people who find you are going to be able to tell. They know that's what you're worried about.
Absolutely. And like it literally screams clout chasing when somebody is clout chasing, and
Hmm.
it's very easy to tell that person is only concerned about one or two things. But in it goes back to like when I made this podcast, the sole purpose of the podcast was to be able to educate aspiring creators. That was my day one
Hmm.
mission. um as long as there's something that I say within the podcast, whether it be from myself or whether it be from the guests that I bring on, that means that it's successful. I don't really pay attention to how many views that I get, even though like the there has been times where I have to look at it based off of what am I missing, what can I improve, and but the one thing that I will say is the most views that I've ever had on a podcast was actually from somebody who is really huge on YouTube, and it was because we all tried to focus on that YouTube aspect from the get go. And once they saw that, oh yeah, this person was on this podcast, they wanted to see why. But it's when it comes to authenticity, you have to really be self-conscious and self-aware of your own self, and really start focusing on the basics of why you wanted to become a streamer. Which leads me to my next question is, why did you want to even start streaming?
Mm, I was lonely.
Aw.
That's like the easiest answer, I think. I was lonely and I came from not the easiest childhood. Uh and I wanted to share the love I feel like I never really got with people. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but I am a really emotional crybaby. And one of my biggest forms of love language is sharing love with people. And I love making people laugh. I like making people jump in their chairs when I play horror games. And so my goal as a streamer when I first started was just to, I don't know, help people feel a little less lonely while they watch me.
And that's awesome, because it's actually very similar to the reason why I wanted to start streaming. I started streaming because, well, actually I started streaming because someone told me I was goofy. But when I really boiled down to it, it was like I didn't really have anybody to play with. So I was watching TikToks. I wanted somebody to play Call of Duty with. So I went into a streamer's chat. I went into X Marie Angel's chat and started getting to know her. And then I started getting to know her community. And then I started finding more people to play with. And then that outreach led me into The Only Shady, which led me to eventually become a moderator within his community, which led me to Bad Bear Gamer, and which led me to a whole slew of other content creators, to eventually, over the time span of 7 years, be where I'm currently at now, being able to talk to a bunch of different creators. And
Yeah.
also, chat, I do see a couple questions, and I promise we'll touch on them. I have them highlighted, and I will scroll back. But um so I wanted to create content for the sole purpose of making people laugh,
Mm,
because people need more positivity in a world where it is very difficult to find it.
absolutely. I
So,
think um I
oh, go
think
for it.
it's I wanted to make people laugh, but also I wanted people to know that they're not alone when they're having tough days. And
Hmm.
people have always told me through my whole career so far that I share too much, or I'm cringy, or I crying on stream is silly. And I'm just like, I want people to know no matter how big I may get, no matter how far I go in my journey, if I reach all my goals, if I reach none of my goals, I want them to remember that I'm a person on the screen that they're watching, and that we are a lot more similar than you think. And I just think I always want people to remember when they're watching my content that they're not alone.
And that's so huge. Is like being like a lot of people who go into a viewership situation do have some sense of loneliness around them, or they have time to kill and are not sure what to do. I'm not saying that everyone, I'm saying that there are some, but it's really interesting to see the dynamic between the community that we create versus like our personalities and how we grow, because as you said earlier in the episode, it's a give and take relationship. We will grow as a person based off of the community that interacts with us.
Absolutely. They help my community helps me way more than I feel like I help them sometimes.
It's the same thing with me. And like we end up growing, my community has helped me literally just be confident in myself. And as you probably have seen from me, I was a person who lacked confidence, and I still lack confidence, but it's slowly starting to grow. It's like a little spark in me that's like, people are like, oh no, we lit the fire. It's almost too late. Perc's going to be Mega Perc, and no one wants to deal with Mega Perc. But
No, that's not true. They love you for you.
and they love you for you. And it's amazing to see when it comes to all these people, and like being able to meet people and being able to interact with people, because back in high school, I couldn't make friends to save my life. I was the most socially awkward individual ever. I was so bad. But
I mean, real. Same.
so what advice would you have to any newer aspiring creator saying that they might have to fit a mold?
Mm. No, you don't. That's like I feel like the best advice in this industry is like the most simple, and I feel like it frustrates people because they think that there's like this magic pill that we've all taken one day and it just magically made us successful, but you really don't. And I feel like I could like peg this point into the ground until it has gone all the way through the earth, through the molten lava to the other side of the earth. You do not have to fit any mold. What you do have to do is be yourself. And I think being yourself, whether you're a streamer, just a regular person walking through your everyday life, or, the freaking, I don't know, the monarch of some country, it doesn't matter who you are. Being yourself is what people want. They want to be able to relate to you. And one thing I've always carried with me, people always make fun of me because I was an improv artist for a little while. It was something I did to get better at acting because I wanted to be a voice actor. And the best teacher I think I ever had as an improv artist told me, keep it simple, stupid. People will laugh when they relate to it. People will pity laugh when you're trying too hard. And
True.
I have never forgotten that.
It rings such a bell, because like I always like with everything that I do, even like with my podcast questions, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Like I try not to do anything for pity. So one of the biggest foundations of my growth as a content creator has been organic growth. I don't care if my video reaches anyone. I don't care as long as it reaches the right people. And you're right. You have to keep everything simple. You have to keep it like close to the heart and verbatim, and like truly, like, to grow as a creator, the thing that you have to allow yourself to understand yourself, and you have to introspectively grow within yourself.
Absolutely. And if you aren't introspective as a creator, you're never going to grow.
You're missing
And
the
I hate
point.
saying that. You're missing the point. Because as a creator, like we just said, your community will help you grow in ways that you'll never realize. Your
Exactly.
community will say things to you, teach you things from their own walks of lives. I mean, I have this shtick that I do, and it is go on a zoo date with me. And
W.
the amount of things that I have learned just sitting there yapping and looking at crazy animals or cursed bugs from my community that I've learned about the world that I would have never learned if a community member hadn't said it. I like it's just so magical to me. So if you aren't being authentically and vulnerably yourself, that's you're missing the plot. You've forgotten the plot completely.
100%. And like when we talk about authenticity, and like it's not as simple as people think. It's
It's not.
it's you, in order to be authentic, you have to understand your ups and downs, and you have to understand what you like and dislike. And it goes back to like truly taking the mental health resources that are out there for yourself if you're struggling to be able to find that about yourself. And like I have always, I'm a huge advocate of mental health within my community, and we always have like the suicide hotline that you're able to talk to. I'm not going to try to go down that route in regards to that, but what I'm saying is we have resources that are always readily available. And when we talk about mental health, us as streamers have to really focus on our mental health, because we have to
Mm,
get to know ourselves so that we have the capabilities of being able to get to know the community.
absolutely. Well, just as a streamer,
Hmm.
you're constantly giving emotionally. It is
Yes,
a constant give. And if you aren't practicing what you preach, what's the point?
exactly. So I'm gonna kind of pop back into a question from chat. I still have a million questions, but I was reading it and I definitely wanted to touch on it. Um, Popados actually asked, "What is your favorite part about streaming for our individual communities, and why?"
What was the last part?
What is our favorite part about streaming for our individual communities, and why?
Oh, for our individual communities,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, just laughter for me. It is pure laughter, and I've said this on stream before, but there have been days, and all streamers and content creators go through it. There have been days where I was dreading hitting the go live button. Not because I didn't want to, not because I didn't want to talk to my community, but because I was having a bad day. I was having a bad day completely unrelated to whatever I was doing that day as a creator. It was just something bad happened, my fibro was flaring, I was sick to my tummy, but because I pushed myself and said, no, I made a commitment, I'm going to stick to my commitment. Going live and the laughter and the antics and the jokes and the memes from my community just gave me the passion I needed to complete that day. It gave me the energy. It made me feel like I wasn't even sick. It made me feel like I didn't even have a bad day. So my favorite part of streaming to my specific community and talking to my specific community is just my community. I just love how honest and kind and hardworking and talented they all are. I like hearing about their days. It's like hearing about like your partner's day. It just no matter how bad your day was, I get to hear about their days. I get to see their jokes and I get like my second wind.
And that's a really difficult question for me, because being engaging and laughing with your community is so rewarding. But like we do that a lot, but we do that at the I don't want, it's expense is a wrong word, but we do it at by talking to random people playing Call of Duty. So the majority of my content is being a troll in COD, and whether it be in Search and Destroy, it's getting to know those angry, crazy, weird people, and making them laugh and making them smile and changing their entire personality in one aspect. And the community that I have, that I've created, we talk about it. We talk about that, and it's like, man, how can they go from being so like by saying the N word and just being so rude and abrasive to being like, well, I absolutely loved this new thing that my best friend turned me on to for food or something like that, and like letting those people completely change their mindset um and start having fun in a game that in like Call of Duty that everybody just kind of attacks each other in. It's like being able to take those conversations and turn it into something that's truly positive and rewarding for everyone. And our community, like, my favorite part of streaming is being able to really talk about that with the entire world and like give people those opportunities that they rightfully deserve.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
And another question, and this is more an advice related question. Talking about being off, this is from Chao Zoe, Fender the
Kazooie.
Wolf. Yeah. So talking about being authentic, do you have any life advice? He said, for me, myself, don't feel whole when not doing the things that fully occupy my mind, like cooking, sailing, forging, or whatever the case is. Though I'm not the last one to do it anymore where I live. But do you have any like life advice, I guess is the question.
Life advice meaning about let me see. Do you have any Sorry, I'm reading it. I'm just reading it so I
Yeah.
can
I'm trying to like kind of formulate it in a way that makes it sound like a
Oh, I
question.
see.
Yeah,
Oh, I see. I understand.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um so this is a load. Okay, this is going to be kind of a long answer. I'm so sorry.
No, go
I'm
for
so
it.
sorry, especially cuz I read the second half of it. Finding yourself is a non-linear path. And I'm sorry if I get a little emotional. Um, but I'll share my own lore, especially because I know there's some munchers watching. And we all love lore in my community. But finding yourself is a non-linear path. It is not something everybody's going to do at the same point in life. And honestly, I don't even really like the term finding yourself. In my opinion, yourself is already there. It's Lore. It's already there. It's already present. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but to me, what people mean when they say finding yourself, it is deconstructing what life has told you is correct. Finding yourself is breaking down all of the expectations, all of the traumas, all of the failures, everything that you've ever been through in your life, especially as a child. It's deconstructing that to a point where you remember yourself. And I know, sorry, I know that that sounds really cheesy, but as someone who had to grow up really fast, I was in fight or flight for a long time. And I feel like a lot of people who had a childhood like mine went through life, and you end up on one side of it or the other, and one of them isn't that great. So I consider myself lucky. I consider myself someone who really pulled herself up by her britches, leaned really hard into that fight or flight mode, and just kept on trucking. And it was the first time I had realized that I had fully deconstructed that flight or flight and fully deconstructed everything I was disappointed about in my own life. I was sitting on my couch, and it was a house I had just bought. It was my house. And I was sitting on my couch eating some cereal. I was eating some cereal and I was looking at my cat, and she was just looking at me from the window, and it was a really sunny day. And I kind of just sat there and I realized, wow, I am okay. I'm really happy. I'm happy. I'm going after the things that I love. I I'm just happy, and I like actually like audibly took a long breath, and I realized that I was safe. And it was in that moment that I realized I'd found myself in the way that people think when they say that. It was in that moment I realized I had remembered who I was, what I thought was funny, what I thought was cringe or not cringe in life. And I just said, okay, well, this is me. And that's when my whole life started to change for the better.
That's amazing. That's honestly like that's a gorgeous thing and like a beautiful story to think about. My advice for everyone, and I'm gonna take the, I guess the open world. I don't hold on. So my advice: nothing is ever getting, nothing is ever written. There is no correct path for you to follow. Life isn't some strict storyline. Think of it like an open world game. You have to learn, you have to explore, you have to try, you have to mess up, You have to fail. You have to laugh. You have to restart and try different answers, because you are just learning who you are by having your own experiences. And everyone, when you're trying to learn about yourself, it is truly like, if you ask me, what do I like? I can't answer that question because I genuinely still don't know. I'm still learning about things that I like. Like, I love sushi. That's something that I like. But I mean, like, it goes beyond just that. There's so many things out there. Life is literally an open world game. It's like, people keep saying, one of the funniest things is I'm in this Discord and it keeps saying that real life is like Minecraft. I'm like, no, Minecraft is like real life. And it's like, we compare real life to Minecraft based off of like the open world game that we're creating. But you know what? We are the main character in our storyline, in our life, and we have to pick our own side quests. We have to learn the things that we want to do. And you have to take advantage of that for yourself too. Like, I want to go play hockey. So my next move is going to find an adult hockey league, save up money so that I can start playing hockey, and then go into play hockey. It's like, if you really want something, you're going to make that your mantra. You're going to make that your personality. You're going to put yourself in that position, and you're going to allow yourself to learn.
Absolutely.
And that is why I say life is an open world game. It is so open. It is so out there. There's never a right answer. Because the biggest thing, and this will go right back into content, the biggest thing that content creators and streamers can do is learn from their own failures.
Yes, absolutely. I don't really like to call them failures, though.
Mm-hmm.
I like to call them learning opportunities.
Exactly. And that's valid. That's a super positive approach, and it's great. Because, like, they are learning opportunities. So,
I also think that learning opportunities is how you become a successful creator.
Boom. It's just like that. And when we go back and forth into like our own like analytics, full circle, we see
Bum, 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 bum.
right? We see what we have to do to change and see what we can learn from our analytics to be able to fix. So it's truly something incredible. Like, I say it over and over and over. There's only one true path, and it's what you make of it.
Mhm.
So
I agree with that.
So how is it that somebody where we're constantly learning on ourselves, right? We're constantly looking back at ourselves. We're constantly being introspective. We're learning how to be authentic. How do we stay consistent? What's the trick? Or is there no trick?
I don't think there is a trick. I don't think there is a trick, because consistency for me is not the same as consistency for you. Consistency for me is 3 shorts a day, 3 long form a week, and a stream every day except for Sunday. That's a lot of consistency for someone else with 2 kids and a husband. Consistency is not going to be the same for any creator, but you creating your own idea of consistency and sticking to it is how you build trust with your community.
Yeah. And with me, no, I agree with you. There's not a whole lot to add to that, but like the only thing I will say is how I stay consistent is understanding my whole life, because it's really putting it all into a schedule. So for example, I'm Perc. I also am a podcaster, but I'm also Evan. I'm also a tactical engineer. I also run a full-time job, and I also do some side hustles on the side. Everything that I do, everything in my life, I'm constantly going, I'm constantly working, I'm constantly doing things. And the what really helps me stay consistent is the mentality of, I'm not even on the right scene. I'm so deep in thought on it. What really happens to me is, if I want something, I'm going to make it my mantra and I'm going to go get it. That's some of the big things that I try to do when I talk about being consistent. If I truly want to grow as a creator, I'm going to make it my goddamn mission to grow as a creator. If I want to make a YouTube video and I want to make it great, I'm going to make it my mission to make it great. For the best example is actually the most recent Ghost Gaming submission that I made. There was no reason for me to submit that. There was no reason for me to get that done. I had 3 hours left. I had 3 weeks to do it. Because I was in my own head, and I ended up having a conversation with a couple different people, and they're like, you know what? There's only one shot. Why don't you take it? So I put my head
Always
down.
take your shot.
Well, I put my head down
Always.
within the 3 hours, and I made that video, and apparently it now has like 8,000 views, and everybody loves it, and it's turned into one of my best videos. And
Let's go.
And I did it in 3 hours.
That is more vulnerability, less plotting. And that always
Exactly.
is going to do more numbers than plotting. I don't care what anybody tells me.
So that mentality with me is why I keep saying, if you truly want something, you're going to make it your mission to go get it.
I agree. But I also think that is the difference. It's less about understanding how to be consistent and stay consistent. It's the difference between consistency as a creator and balance as a person.
Yes. Also,
Because go ahead.
also passion versus
Yeah.
desire.
Well, oh gosh, that's something that we could talk about for hours
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's lots of people who say they want to be a creator, but they don't really have the passion for it. They just want to, the
Yeah.
end game of the creator.
And that's the thing. It's like the end game of the creator is so appetizing and so inviting. Like, it's easy to get blinded. It's easy to stray off the right path. So
Listen, it's fun. It's fun. As someone who has been growing quickly, and I am so grateful for it, don't get me wrong. Fast chats, fun memes, lots of jokes, it's fun. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't do it if I wasn't passionate about it. I wouldn't agonize about how to be better every single night after stream. I wouldn't look at my analytics like a crazy woman to try and figure out what I could do better the next video I upload if I wasn't passionate about it. There's so much in the back end of being a creator that you have to have. It is a requirement of the career path, the passion for. And sometimes I think that's a hard pill to swallow.
that is actually every career in a nutshell. And
Yes.
I think people kind of forget that. It's like, for example, if you graduate high school, you're aimless, you don't know what to do. Do you go to college? Do you go get a job? Do you go work at McDonald's? Well, what do you want to do? And like, for example, I'm making it my mission to move to Atlanta within the next 2 years. I'm not
Funny because I'm moving to Arizona.
Arizona, but I want to move to Atlanta because I like the city, because I like the environment, and I like the area. That's just my thing. I want to move from Cleveland to Atlanta, but my mentality is this: I'm gonna be in Atlanta in 2 years. It's just gonna be what it is. If it means that I have to change certain aspects of my life to make that happen, then I'm going to.
Absolutely.
And
Well, and that being said, back to the consistency versus balance thing, understanding your limits is crucial when
yes,
it comes to being a creator. Because if I push myself to the point where I'm not sleeping, or I'm not eating or drinking water, I'm not going to be a good creator. I'm not going to appear well. I'm not going to be able to be creative the way that I need to. I'm not going to be able to tap into any of the parts of me that matter if all other parts of me as a person outside of being a VTuber is neglected. That being said, even though I might not want to neglect those things because I want it, because I put myself in a position to be passionate about it, no matter what, I will still do it.
and we talk about mindsets and stuff like that, and that's purely it right there. It's like, especially for new creators going into the industry, right? With you want to be a creator, my biggest advice to you as somebody who wants to do it is, first off, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I say that as a joke. Secondly, it's, why do you truly want to do it? And I think every single time as we go throughout our careers, especially in the streaming industry and the content creation industry, we have to remember the basics. Remember why we started in the first place, because that's our passion, that's our motivation, and that's what we were going to want to do, and that's how we're going to push ourselves every single day.
Yes.
And that evolved from me to the friends that I've made throughout the time being there. The friends that I eventually
Absolutely.
want to make. I don't just it's for example, you and I have spoken a lot in the past couple of years, and it's a good thing because you're a genuine human being, and I appreciate the hell out of you. And I don't mean that as a sappiness. I just mean that as like literally like you have helped me from a mentality perspective since I met you. So, but not a whole lot of people see the networking aspect and the back end side of things that because we don't really expose that stuff. Like even if it's as simple as you got this, or your mindset's in the right space, don't overthink it. Like stuff that you've even said to me like that, it resonates with me and it allows me to keep pushing forward in certain aspects of content creation.
Absolutely.
Is there something that anybody has said to you that helps rejuvenate like your
Hmm.
content mentality that might even help you avoid burnout?
People telling me that my daily affirmations help them. And it happens more than I ever thought it would. My daily affirmations are some of the most unhinged things in the world that I've ever done. It is literally a little jingle. It is literally a little jingle that I came up with. I don't deviate from the jingle. It is always daily affirmations every single time. And the amount of people who have DM'd me, come into stream, left comments saying, please don't ever stop doing these daily affirmations, no matter what you do with your content. It literally gives me so much fuel for my for the fire in my heart. I wish I could say it in words how it makes me feel, but that alone, more than anything, is what keeps me going.
It's huge, and to be able to get positive feedback from your fellow creators and your friends, like people forget that. And I'm a firm believer of being kind to everybody, no matter who they are, because there's no reason to be mean. But there's also limits and stuff to that. Like today, I sent a message to one of my friends saying, "Hey, I appreciate you being in my corner," and to have someone from the heart, because there's a difference between someone just messaging you, "Hey, I like what you're doing awesome, keep going," versus your content's really starting to resonate with me and I really appreciate you being a friend and being in my corner.
Yeah.
That there is a huge genuine aspect when it comes to this type of stuff, and it allows us to realize that we can be friends. We have the ability to be friends, and we appreciate the actual content that everybody's putting forward on a day-to-day basis. And like that's the memo of my entire personality of spreading positivity and why the podcast began to begin with.
Yeah. And that being said, this is a really lonely career path. We've talked about that.
It's very lonely.
It it's very lonely. It's very alienating. Even though, and it's so funny because it almost feels like an oxymoron.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as you grow, you start to stream and make content for thousands of people, and like potentially millions of people across the world will see your content, no matter whether they follow you or not. It's just the fact that so many people see your content, and yet you are still so lonely.
Yeah. we are
And
we
I
are
think
definitely lonely.
yes, and I think the best way to combat that is to have a close circle of people who understand what you're going through. And I'll give some shout outs real quick for
Go
people
for it.
because like Lainey, who's in the chat, is such a sweet bean and makes me feel so special every time I talk to her. And then there's Artemis Frost and Amethyst May. Like honestly, I love all of the femmes in my life currently.
Well,
Like they are
I
just
had
some of the
Lainey on the
most supportive
podcast.
people.
I had Lainey on the podcast on Friday, and
Yes,
it
I
was amazing.
know. I know. Lainey is such a sweet bean, and it's just you can't put a price on people who are not only in your corner, but people who understand what's going on in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's the understanding what's going on that really helps you feel a little less alone. And I will say, just for me, in I don't know how much people know about the VTuber world, here, but there was a creator by the name of Cinder who went through a lot of controversy because of how they treated their friends, and they were called out about it. And I make very similar content to how she got started, and there was something in the back of my mind when all of that happened where I don't want people to think that I'm like that behind the closed doors either. Because my friends are like the most important thing to me. And so I don't know, it's just I will always, always, always have my friends on such a high pedestal because it is the only way to get through life just in general is people who legitimately take the time to understand you and love you for who you are.
It's so big and important to be able to have friends in the content space. It's like, so like for example, the reason why I started streaming, I think I touched on it a little bit, was a lot of it due to the community that I made in the Only Shady's chat when the Only Shady was creating Call of Duty content, and then seeing him do games with Bad Bear Gamer, and that's kind of where I modeled my gaming personality off of, was pretty much a combination between the two of them. But and when I say model my gaming personality, I'm not saying that it's different than my actual personality, but I'm taking aspects of what they're doing and interwebbing it into my own personality. So that's something to note. But being able to get the motivation not only from Shady, not only from Cpreds, not only from Bad Bear Gamer, not only from like as of a lot recent, it's been Steffi Evans and Adam Poe. It's been people that have just been in my corner and helping me be in my corner, and not even me knowing that they're in my corner. Like, I want to tell a story going back into, and I've said this in a couple podcasts, back in Dallas, right? I went to DreamHack Dallas this past year, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't make it a big announcement, but DreamHack Dallas was going to be my last hurrah. I was just going to be done. I was going to go enjoy the content world and then go back to just being a viewer, because I felt like I didn't have the time, I didn't have the motivation, I didn't really see any growth. And I was walking into the COD arena, and I ran into Sasky. Sasky turns around and says, "I know who you are. I love your content." And Sasky pretty much told me that she loved my content, and I'm like, wait, so somebody who is as big as Sasky watches my content? And then Steffi ends up walking up to that and pretty much says something very similar. And like, people were saying that a lot of people start watching my content and enjoy the content that I make, and it's just awesome and goofy. So like, I'm not trying to turn it into a sob fest, but like, realistically, it's like, you never know who's watching your community. You never know who's paying attention to your content. You never know who's putting things forward. You never know who's paying attention. So why don't you just keep continuously being yourself, because you never know who's going to pay attention, why they're going to pay attention, and it's just going to be amazing because we're going to have fun.
Absolutely. And that's such a good point. I feel like that kind of pulls it full circle to what we were talking about earlier is sorry, I'm getting a little misty-eyed because of Lainey in your chat.
Aw.
But it's so important to just be yourself because people can tell when you are focused more on impressing people instead of just creating.
Right.
And so can those bigger people, by the way. Those bigger
Yes.
people, more than anything, are going to know because people try to do it to them all the time. And so it's like, if you just make the content and just be yourself and hope for the best, that's when magic happens. I swear. I know people don't always believe that, but that's true.
Make content for yourself. Don't make it for anyone else. Because the moment that you're having fun with it, the moment that you start actually having a passion and showing people your passion and enjoying the passion, and like, you can tell literally my personality right now, where we're talking about this shit, that I'm literally getting animated. I'm showing the passion. I'm showing the creativity. I'm explaining the mentality. It's like, look, content creation is the most easiest thing in the world, and it's also the most difficult thing in the world. But you got to make content for yourself, and don't lose track on why you make content to begin with, because content can be fucking anything. It can be cooking, it can be running, it can be video games, it could be being Jack Doherty, even though I don't like his content. But not all content is literally something that is consumable. It is something that is capable of being consumed. It is being consumed from a holistic aspect. Like, everything about content is something that you can watch, that you can enjoy, and that you find entertaining in some way, shape, or form. But also being said, not all content is for everyone. So,
No.
for example, and I've told him this to him, so I feel comfortable talking about it here. I personally hate Executive Joker's content. I personally hate it. I've told that to him to his face. I've messaged him directly, and I don't like his content. It's not for me. But I don't hate him. I just hate his content. Because his content is not who he is. And that's also something you have to keep in mind, that there are creators that are out there that have to put on a slight facade. I'm not saying everyone does, but there are some. And there are some people that have to put on a specific mask based off of the content that they're putting forward. Because we're creating our brand.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like I'm the type of creator who understands that as a concept, and I don't judge anybody for doing that by any means. But me, my brand is me.
mhm.
And while I do bits and I make jokes and I do the whole yandere bits, it's I intentionally make a space where I can be the most outrageous, goofiest, unhinged, unfiltered version of myself, and that's what I do on my live streams. So while a lot of my people who watch my shorts come to my live stream is a special place where my community knows they're going to get their gremlin queen. They're going to get me. They're going to get maybe a more hyped up version of me because I'm excited to be there. But they're going to get me. That's going to be Aurora. That's something that they can look forward to every single stream, no matter what I'm doing.
And it's the same thing with me over here. And that's where you and I coalesce, and you and I have a very similar mentality. No matter what you do, you're going to get Perc. You're going to get whoever Perc is, and you're going to get all the good and the bad of Perc. But
Mhm.
also something about Perc is Perc doesn't sugarcoat shit. He'll say things like it is, whether you like it or whether you don't. Because that's just the mentality that I have being a COD creator. Like, I'll tell you something and you may not like it in Call of Duty. I may call you a shitter and I'll explain exactly why you're a shitter, but at the same time, I'll also say you're an amazing human and this is why you're an amazing human. There's both sides of the coin, but it's still
There
money.
is. And like I said, I don't judge any creators who do it that way. I think your content is your content, and if that's the content that makes you happy, that's the content you should make.
Exactly.
It's different for everyone. This is not a linear career. There's not a success formula for everyone.
Well, if there was, then everybody would be famous.
Yeah.
Like, if there was, you would have a million Brook monks walking around being like, oh my god, it's Brook Monk. Oh my god, it's Brook Monk. I say that because she's like grown super heavy on like TikTok, and I say it as a joke. It's not, Brook Monk isn't like a goal. I'm just literally, you guys get what I'm saying, I hope. But it's like everybody's path is different. It's our own journey, just like what we talked about earlier with life. You gotta explore, you gotta learn, you gotta mess up, you gotta laugh, you gotta have fun with it. Because as a new creator, as an aspiring creator, this could be one of the most rewarding experiences you ever get yourself into, and it could also be one of the worst.
It is.
Depending on what
It's
you
the
make of it.
internet.
It is.
It's the internet.
And-
There's going to be trolls every single day of your career, but if you do it for the right reasons, it will always be rewarding.
Agreed. And so, what is something about authenticity that you're still learning today?
Hmm. That's a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that I am still learning today, which I talked a little bit about already, is being good enough as myself, not needing games or gimmicks to back it up. I had my chat give me a very tough love lesson in a very recent stream, and I had been sick for a couple of days, and I came back and it was a crazy chaotic chat, and like some random person on like my YouTube vertical was like, "Just play the game already," and I was like, "Well." I mean, okay, I'm sorry. And I like apologized live on stream. I was like, I'm sorry. I'll play the game. And so I started to go play the game. And like a bunch of people in my Twitch chat, they were like, no, we don't care if you play the game. We're here because we like listening to you yap. And like I had like a tough love lesson from some of my Twitch chatters because of that one comment. And because like that person like dug into me into something that I've always been insecure about is like I'm not good enough or I'm too much or I'm too little. And it's just that, imposter syndrome, which all creators
Yes.
experience. But it's just like in that moment, so many of my chatters were like, no, like honestly, you know what? Don't play the game. Well, you could sit here and yap. And I actually did. I canceled the game and I sat there and yapped for 3 hours. And it was so fun. It was so chaotic. It was so high energy. And it's something that's not ingrained in us as a society to think that we as ourselves are funny enough or entertaining enough.
And you bring up imposter syndrome, and that is something that I struggle with on a day-to-day basis. I don't understand why I'm at where I'm at, and I'll never understand where I'm at, but people like the fact that I'm at where I'm at, and it's weird. I still don't think that I'm doing things right enough, but that's because I'm very difficult on myself, and like, but I agree with you, and for something that I'm still learning today, it's to be comfortable with the fact that I'm growing, because I consistently say things like, no, I don't, or no, I'm not there yet. And everyone's like, yes, you are there yet. And then I'm like, no, I'm not. Stop it. So it's like a weird fight that I'm having with my friends that I'm also having internally, because that's really what imposter syndrome is. Like, I struggle with imposter syndrome on a day-to-day basis. I have no idea that I would be able to be friends with as many people as I became friends with, and people enjoy me and keep saying that I'm positive perk for everything that I do. I didn't think I would ever get here, and I still don't think should be at where I'm at. I don't think I have what it takes to be talking to half of these people on the podcast and getting the interest that I have, but yet I have people lined up over the next 3 months. It's
Do I have to chunkly you?
I don't know what that means.
I do I have to throw my shoe at your head?
You can try. It's gonna be difficult through the camera, but like
I will.
But yeah, that's my mentality with it. Is like, but also you have to keep in mind that when I say stuff like this, it's not me being negative towards myself. It's also my mentality turning around and saying, dude, shut up, believe it. So it's me, you're literally watching it process in real time. Because that's how my mind works. Mm-hmm.
I think some people go through life and experience less imposter syndrome because of the privileges that they were given. But I do think as a creator, it's normal. It is a totally normal feeling to experience, especially when you grow faster than you expect. Growing and experiencing the thing that everybody wants out of their career is the fastest way to have heavy imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because you're still in that space when you had 2 people in your chat. You're still that person, and then 3 months later you've got 500 concurrent viewers across 4 chats, and you're like, what's happening?
And that's where I'm at right now. Is like when I made a tweet the other day where I'm like, I'm growing ridiculously fast and I'm not used to this, and I'm not, but I really am, because I went from having like 1 or 2 people occasionally in my Twitter chat, in my Twitch chat or my Kick chat, and like I'll have like 7 or 8 lurkers, which I can clearly see because they do it because they want to stream snipe me, to now having people interact with me like, dude, I love how you're interacting with things. This is awesome. I'm glad that I found you. I'm glad that I found this. I'm glad this is what's going on. And they're like literally chanting perk, perk, perk. And I'm like, shut up, shut up, shut up. So it's like, it's crazy. It's funny. It's goofy. And it's the things that like you learn in the world of content that you're not ready for. And like, it really does. You're in a position where content is a world where it demands a specific level of luck, but it demands an insane level of skill, and it demands an insane level of knowledge. And we have to learn how to effectively be a content creator. And the best thing that we could do is YouTube with that.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And like, so going through YouTube, learning YouTube, and like when you have a question, consulting the YouTube overlords is like, that's how you learn, because the world of content has some level of work there.
Absolutely.
They're petitioning for bald Aurora. Just a heads up. I don't even know how you can do that.
Bald Aurora.
Yeah, they're petitioning
Oh
for bald Aurora.
no!
I don't have that redemption, chat.
Why are you this way? Oh my god! I don't even have that prepared.
I don't even know if you can have that prepared. I don't know how. So I'm still learning the back end of like VTubing stuff. Like it's something that I just genuinely want to learn. And I don't even know like anything about it. Like I know I spoke with Amethyst, I spoke with Lainey, I spoke with a couple different VTubers. I'm literally in a Discord with that's entirely made of VTubers, and I'm getting to know them and getting to know certain things, but I don't know shit. That's not something I have any knowledge about, and I'm not even gonna pretend. Oh my gosh, she's bald!
Egg! Bald!
Also, hi,
Bald!
hi, Tori. It's great to see you. Bald. But it's really funny in the world of content, in the world of learning everything as a content creator. And seriously, like, just remember the basics. Remember why you wanted to be here. Because if you want to be authentic, if you want to be true to yourself, if you want to be you, if you want to be bald Aurora, envision bald Aurora, be yourself, be who you are. Because the moment you're not, the entire world's going to see it.
Absolutely.
So, is there one thing that you wish you could tell your former content creator self for somebody who would just be starting out? Like, what would be something you want your young self as a creator to know?
Stop caring about what other people think. I think that was my biggest hurdle, especially last year. My biggest hurdle was caring too much about what others thought of me. It was caring too much about what others presumed about me, and it was caring too much about the things that people made up about me. It was, and still is sometimes the biggest hurdle of my career because I care. I care a lot. I care about people, and I think that's why I do well as a creator is because I just love people. I love people. I love cultures. I love learning about what people have gone through in life. I love learning about other people's cultures. I just love people. And I know that that's really cheesy, but
But it's
especially
real.
as a creator, it really is. And especially as a creator, when people see you doing well and don't have your best interests at heart, they will make stuff up about you. They will be mean to you. They will try to get others to dogpile on you. And it's not a reflection of you. And I think that's the hardest thing to learn as a person, just in general. Someone else's insecurities about you is not a reflection on you, it's a reflection on them.
I couldn't agree more. My advice to myself, if I was just starting streaming, is remember why you wanted to do it in the first place, and remember that no matter what happens, your journey is the only journey that's going to matter. So focus on yourself, focus on your content, keep your head down, stay in your lane, and keep doing things. Because you're never going to make everyone happy, but you can and you will at least make one person happy, even if that person is yourself. Because once you do that, once you find your passion, the entire world, your entire world is going to light up, and it's just going to make sense.
I couldn't agree more.
So, is there any closing words that you want to leave for any new and aspiring content creators?
Well, just on the subject of authenticity, just do it. And I know that sounds so simple and so basic, but that was the Shia LaBeouf meme. Just do it! Make your dreams come true! Because I tell you, you're never going to know if you'll be successful if you don't try. And not trying means you didn't post the short. Not trying means you didn't hit the go live button. Not trying means that you let those earworms inside your head get to you, and that's not being true to yourself. Be true to your passion, be true to what you know of yourself, and people will come.
I love that. And well, I appreciate you, Aurora, for being an amazing friend, for being an amazing human, for constantly being in my corner, for making sure that everybody knows that C4 is food. So
It's not food.
so, and thank you for being your honest, authentic, and true self, and like genuinely just coming onto the podcast. I had an absolute blast having a conversation with you today. There's a lot of really inspirational stuff that the world of content could learn from watching this particular episode, and I can't wait to edit that and get that out to the world so that they can kind of see that themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, the band fam, if you are not following Sincerely Aurora, do it, or I will jingle my keys at you. I don't even have keys on me.
Jingle, 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 jingle.
Actually, I will literally tap my drum at you because that's my that's my thing. I gave these out at DreamHack. Actually, it's this way. And I've never seen them go by so quick. They're little clickers. It's kind of cool. But
Hey, I've got my own clicker.
we love it. We love clickers because we're all ADHD. We're all hyperactive, and it's all fun. Chat, thank you so much for the follows, the subscriptions, the love, the support today. The PSP podcast will be back with another episode this Friday with Ganarian Barbarian. Please make sure you're following Sincerely Aurora. You can click on the name that is in the title, and it'll take her directly to her profile. Give her some follow, show her some love, watch her videos. And ladies and gentlemen, keep spreading positivity. Until next time.